Hello everyone, this is Persephone and I know you love this type of videos, so here I am today to analyze and exterminate yet another MZO gigacope, which is, oh, men ate like wine bro and women expired like milk and yogurt with fungus and all of that stuff. So yeah, my comments are going to be open for you to tell me all the horrible stuff that you want to tell me. Whoever bullies my subs or my fans is going to be blocked. You know how it works. Also, to the people who aspire to post pro-rape comments or death comments and murder threats and so on, you cannot seriously expect me to give you a platform to post this nonsense, right? Or a platform to advertise your failed gaming channel that you started in 2009 and it has your mom and your best friend and your fake dogs like YouTube account. Like, I'm not going to give free platforms to anyone. You want traffic from me, make a decent video and I would gladly watch it and give you a response. So I have been hearing that ever since I was a little kid, that men age much better than women, because it was something that I also experienced in my own family. My parents are both in their 50s and my dad looks much better compared to my mom. And my dad used to be in the military and he can still wear in his 50s the military uniform that he used to wear when he was 19, when he first enlisted, which is something that he's using to brag. And a lot of people say that, see, this dude is an example that, yeah, the red pill is real, versus my mom, that she has become very overweight, she looks very aged and so on. The thing is though, this is all just a cope and a scam, because if you look at the behind the scenes, you would see that there are very specific reasons and conditions that allowed him to be this way, that they do not actually apply to the majority of men. And it's again one of those cases where you're being promised that you can do whatever you want, bro, and you can be famous and rich, bro, and you can't do shit. So first of all, my father grew up in an area that there was a lot of physical activity, a lot of sports. He was eating a diet that it was pretty much meat on every meal. Even now he's like that, which is bad for his health, that if you don't have meat on every meal, doesn't necessarily need to be red meat, could be fish, could be chicken. He feels that he didn't eat. Like even now he's not going to accept to eat just, let's say, vegetables. So this resulted in him being 6 feet tall, doing all of those sports, being physically strong. He would help his family around when they had like physical labor. And then he went to the army, which is something that specifically he was on the Marines, which is something that, you know, how much it helps you build like stamina and be strong. I'm saying that because if you have been especially red pilled, you know how important it is in your formative years to actually build up your body in a way that you have a good metabolism, you are tall, you are strong. And men who don't do that, men who just have good genetics, or they just end up after high school dropping all sports and sitting around, they are not going to look good in their 30s or in their 40s. But again, this is not emphasized because those philosophies, especially MZO, is meant to stroke men's egos and make them feel like they have like some kind of pseudo advantage that most of them don't have. Another thing is that my father has a very rare autoimmune condition. Unfortunately, I can't tell you which one because you can easily find him. It's very rare. And I say you can find him because he has given permission to use his data, like to stop patients' confidentiality. So when it comes to another person's privacy, I cannot dox him. But let me tell you that because of that, he retired at 45. And my mom was like a teen and pregnant kind of thing mom. So when my dad was in his 30s, I was already 17, going to college in an early acceptance and living independently in a different town. So imagine that. Imagine a guy who is retired in his early 40s. He has only one kid who is now an adult, that doesn't pay anything for the kid because I had a scholarship. I mean, sure, if he wanted to send me money, he could send me money. I don't say that he starved me, but it's very different to choose if you want to send money to another adult or not versus having 2 babies in diapers, if you know what I mean. And he got to spend his day any way he wants at that age. So because the condition is autoimmune and has ups and downs, when he's on the up side and he doesn't have pain, he can enjoy life. And he spent more than 15 years retired, doing what he wants, eating what he wants, not having to spend money on kids. My mother works, she has a very stressful job, and my mother also has multiple eating disorders that they have aged her. And she's always a person that hates exercise, so in her early teens, in her 20s, she didn't do anything. She started exercising when she was in her mid-30s because the doctors forced her, due to almost getting diabetes out of the yo-yo diet, like weight up, weight down, weight up, weight down. So when people see my dad and my mom next to each other, they say that, see, men age better than women. I call bullshit. Because my dad also has friends that they got married in their 30s or 40s or had kids, or the ones that didn't get married, because there are some poor MGTO among his friends. They work shitty ass jobs, soul-killing jobs that all day you have to be standing up, all day you have to be catering to customers, you don't have time to take care of yourself, and they don't look like my dad, they look like they are his dad. And you're going to say, okay, Persephone, are you going to make an example out of a handful of people? No. But if you look around you, take a look around you, take a look at the people that you know. The guy who is working a job that is essentially a dead job and is trying to save up money, how is his life? Is it a life that is going to allow him to age well? Let me tell you how the average guy lives, especially in America, but in other parts of the world as well. He gets up in the morning, sleep deprived, to drive 1 hour in the traffic, to go to his office or some other job where he sits on his fat ass all day. He is eating donuts for breakfast, junk food for lunch. Then he comes home around 6, he's so tired. If he lives alone, he has to run a ton of errands. If he has a relationship or a wife or kids, even worse, he has to do twice as much. And if you say we're MGTO, why do you care about wife and kids? It's because you don't say MGTO guys age better, you say guys age better in general. So if we want to be objective, we have to include the married guys as well, and the guys who are in a cohabitation as well. So after all of that is done, usually he's married to some white land whale, he doesn't cook, he doesn't clean, they're going to order a takeout, he's going to pass out in front of the TV with a 6-pack of beer, and then the next day repeats itself. A Groundhog Day. And in the weekend, if he's happy and lucky to catch up on sleep and laundry, and then he's going to go out with his friends, drink, and he's going to scrape enough like leftovers to go to Monday again and again and again. You really think that this guy who lives in constant stress of how he's going to survive, how he's going to pay his house, his car, his truck, his kids, who has a wife who doesn't care for him, or he lives alone and he has to do everything alone, you are really going to tell me that this guy ages better than a woman? Depends on what woman. If you refer again to the average white land whale that she has been doing ecstasy at 16 and drinking alcohol and have 5 or 6 abortions and 10 STDs, and her idea of cooking is, I have girls who say, oh, I know how to use the microwave. In Eastern Europe, we call those women mentally ill. Not in a way of, oh my God, the patriarchy, you have to cook for men, but you have to be a functioning person, an adult who knows how to cook, to take care of yourself and your family. That still applies here. So this woman is going to look like shit when she's 30, and the man who associates with her and has the same lifestyle is going to look like shit when he's also 30. So the wall applies to men as well. Be an average 35-year-old that you are pretty much losing your hair and you have a beer gut and you have wrinkles, and try to hit up on 22-year-olds if you are not super rich. They're going to call you divorce dick and avoid you and laugh at you. And if that's not an example of reversed wall that hits the men as well, I don't know what it is. So we can be lying to each other and say that, oh no, it only applies to women, but my point is, of course it applies to women, but it also applies to the majority of men. Men like my father are the exception, and they're also sneaky, because my father is not going to tell you all of that. If you ask my father, he's going to say, no, a parent's worry never stops. I've aged 20 years because I have an insane daughter. But that's not true. That's not true. The last 5 years, I haven't been involved in anything to get in trouble, like get arrested, like take drugs, be on a fight, stuff like that. He doesn't do anything. How is that the same as having 2 toddlers in diapers that they need all of that stuff to grow up, and then they're going to need to go to college or get jobs or whatever? It's not the same. He has a much more stress-free life, and stress is the first thing that ages you. It's the thing that destroys you the most. So get off your high horse. If you want to say that we don't want to date old, aged, women destroyed by drugs, who are alcoholics and who don't cook and clean and who just expect us to worship them, then sure, don't date them. But don't think that you are the example of, I don't know, the guy who is 50 and looks 20 just because you have a penis. Unfortunately, just having a penis doesn't protect one from aging. Aging is going to hit you pretty hard as long as you don't take care of yourself, you have constant stress, especially financial stress, you don't sleep properly, all of that stuff. They age everyone equally. So can you please stop sending me nonsense? I mean, there are so many things you could insult about me, but I'm not going to accept this type, oh, I'm going to remain youthful and you are 55 and in menopause. And someone had the nerve to tell me that, oh, menopause in some cases starts at 40. Menopause in some cases started at 12 if we check the news. Are you going to nitpick that much? Do you want me to start sharing statistics on when erectile dysfunction is starting? Because then my channel is going to be empty. I'm going to put cricket sound effects. It's going to be just me. Don't provoke me. I'm just saying that sure, if you take great care of yourself, you're going to be looking better than the majority of land whales who are around you, of course. But that doesn't happen because you have a penis. That happens because you did the right things in your 20s, in your 30s. I firmly believe what Jennifer Lopez said, that in your 30s and your 40s, you have the body and the skin you invested in your 20s to have. I think that also applies to men. If you have sky-high testosterone and you build a body that is actually very strong when you are a teenager or a young man, that's going to follow you. I will never forget that there was one time when my father had a very serious health problem and he needed to have an operation, and for 1 week he couldn't eat. He could only drink in the hospital protein drinks and some kind of things that they are meals in protein shakes because he couldn't chew. And he lost 14 pounds in a week. And the doctors were very impressed. He was around 45 because they said that he had a very healthy metabolism and his body was responding, although the meals were over 3,000 calories. My mother, on the other hand, she decided to also do the same thing and eat the same protein shakes, and she lost 1 pound. Because her body has been ruined from all of the stupid dieting and purging and being bulimic and all the stuff she does. It's not your gender. It's your choices. It's 2 decades of dumb choices, okay? Do your research and come to me to have some intelligent discussion about things that they actually happen, not about whatever person tries to fantasize that he's going to be immortal and eternally youthful and he's going to show all of those roasties that they rejected him and they didn't give a fuck if he went empty dog.